recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1885 is an administrative cleanup legislation for the Department of General Services regarding the Division of Vehicle and Asset Management. This bill removes the reporting requirement with regard to energy-efficient vehicles, which for the last 10 years they've checked every box on the energy-efficient vehicles. The department will still collect the data and about the purchase of energy-efficient vehicles. And also, with the comptroller's urging, under current law, the commissioner is tasked to establishing rules and regulations for the housing, repair, and operation of state-owned vehicles. And this bill would remove the requirement and allow for the commissioner to simply make policies for the same. And Speaker, I stand for questions.
Representative Darby renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Pearson.
Thank you. Sponsor, could you mention, you said that the department had already reached its goals as it related to energy efficiency vehicles. Could you elaborate on that?
Representative Darby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, sir. In 2007, when this was implemented, this was under Governor Bredesen. I can understand completely about the wanting to get energy efficient, but the last 10 years, they've checked every box. They own and lease over right at 7,000 vehicles. So the reporting requirement, it's redundant. The last 10 years, they've checked every box, and I think and I'll give me a little bit of maneuverability here, but I think it's 28 hybrids, 28 flex fuel vehicles, 2 hybrids, 3 electric, and 167 flex fuel vehicles that have better than 25 miles per gallon. And they've checked all those boxes the last 10 years.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you. And excuse me, the boxes that are being checked that you're mentioning, those were created by the department in 2007.
Representative Darby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Correct.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you. That's helpful. Are there any new requirements that might potentially be set that this legislation would affect as it relates to working to make most of our fleets more fuel efficient, more green?
Representative Darby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is directly for general services and VAP. So these bills, the redundancy of having to go back and do the man hours that the Tennessee taxpayers are paying for to reflect the same things that we know for the last 10 years. In 2007, I see the prevalence of having this, but in 2024, it's just extra man hours that don't need to be repeated.
Representative Pearson.
Okay, I'm being convinced. I just want to make sure that I understand this correctly. In 2007, certain targets were set aside for us to reach green efficiency for our vehicles. We have accomplished that goal according to what you have mentioned now. And so the reporting that is done for the last 10 years has just restated we met the goals that we set in 2007. Is that correct?
Representative Darby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes.
Representative Pearson.
And the second part of this legislation, nor in any intention, is to prevent our departments from doing the work of increasing the amount of fuel-efficient vehicles, increasing the amount of green vehicles that are part of our fleet as we continue to deal with environmental and climate issues. Is that correct?
Representative Darby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you so much for being willing to answer the questions, and I will support this legislation.
Representative Holsey.
Thank you, Mr.